Hello. The Tiny Mike and I are here to come bring you news. It is the year of our Lord 2022. I am in a Wonder Woman crop top. A stained Wonder Woman crop top. Don't ask me why I'm in a crop top in the middle of January, but I'm in a crop top because it's Wonder Woman. I have a Wonder Woman mug. I am backlit, which could be a mistake, but you know what? I don't give a fuck. And DC is rebooting their continuity. So that means that we have to talk about our girl Wonder Woman, because if those of you who have been following the channel for a while know, I'm obsessed with Wonder Woman. I have been reading Wonder Woman comic books since I was 3 years old and learning to read. I have an entire shelf of Wonder Woman comic books that are my favorite different arcs, and I'm still collecting. And this new direction that DC is taking stuff is exciting, so I want to talk about it. Let's do it. My name is Logan, and I'm the bi-book boy. I'm a chaotic bisexual. I read books. We got that out of the way. Let's go. Okay, so when I say reboot, what does that mean? Well, DC and Marvel have this habit of when things get too confusing for new readers, they restart the stories. They did this first in the 80s with Crisis on Infinite Earths, in which, since they had been like, yo, there's multiple different versions of each character and many different universes and multiple different Earths, and that was confusing for readers, they were like, solid, we're gonna destroy the universe and make it so that only one Earth exists, and restart a lot of character story arcs. That's when George Perez came in and wrote the Wonder Woman continuity that is most well known, I would say, which is the 80s one. But yeah. And then in like the early 2000s, they were like, yo, we miss our multiverse. So they did a soft reboot with Identity Crisis and brought the multiverse back. Superman quite literally punched a hole in it. Then they were like, oh, that's too confusing, and there's like 70 years worth of comic history for people to follow now, so we're gonna reboot it again. And they did the New 52, which came out of Flashpoint, because Flash ran around the world so fast that it rewrote time. And it made it so that everyone had only been active for about 5 years. And then that was fun for Wonder Woman, but it went really downhill for a lot of other people. So they rebooted it again. And a lot of people were, having memory issues because Flash screwed with shit. Now they're rebooting it again. Basically, from what I've gathered, I don't know, because we're only like 2-ish issues into these reboots. Instead of having one continuity be true, they're all true. So like all the different origins are real, which is going to be confusing, I can imagine. However, let's dive into it and see what they're going to do for our girl Wonder Woman. Let's dive in. I bought this little compilation that Barnes & Noble, this little compilation that Barnes & Noble is selling. They have episode 1 and 2 of the 3 different publications that are involving Wonder Woman right now. So we're gonna read them. We're gonna talk about them. The first 2 stories follow one of my favorite Wonder Woman characters, Nubia. Who is Nubia? Let me show ya. Nubia is the princess of a separate tribe of Amazonian women on another island that broke off from the original Themysciran island. And she is their princess and their champion, and she actually does act as Wonder Woman for their nation, which is really fucking cool and great. There have been multiple different adventures in the comics where Nubia and Diana have both been acting Wonder Woman, which is awesome and cool. And Nubia is just really badass. This story starts off with Nubia stopping a museum raid by an evil, corrupt Amazon. That Amazon disappears and she's like, what the hell? She said some weird shit. So she goes to the Ebony Club, or she goes to the Ebony Web, which is a club where a bunch of Greek mythological people hang out in the Wonder Woman universe, including her aunt, who is a goddess of sorts. And as they're trying to figure out what's going on, Nubia then gets magically beamed to the island of Themyscira, and where the corrupt Amazon is like, yo, I want that magical tiara that is on Nubia's head that, marks her as a champion of the Amazons and a Wonder Woman. And that Amazon uses the evil witch Circe to try and get it away from Nubia. Nubia beats the shit out of them and wins, aided with the protection of the tiara, and basically solidifies herself as Wonder Woman of that Earth. Of whatever Earth we're on. I'm not sure which Earth we're supposed to be on right now. I hope it's Earth Prime, because I would love it if Nubia was the Earth of was the Wonder Woman of the current Earth. We'll see. All of these stories right now are like flash forwards, like little previews of what we will get in Future State. Then when Future State officially starts, we're gonna go backwards. So we're working up to this. These are like little teasers of like, this is a possible future for the universe, which is really cool. But anyway, we get a lot of Nubia backstory in this as well, and we get to learn just more about the tribe of Amazons that she's from, and I love it. If you want a more detailed spoilerific recap of that book, go read it, go buy it, it's great. Next, we go to what is stated as Earth Prime, but the future Earth Prime. So like not right now. And we meet another character who is introduced to us as Wonder Woman, but I believe when like Future State officially starts, she will be Wonder Girl, and then she will come as Wonder Woman. She'll become Wonder Woman. Yara Flor. Who is Yara Flor, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. Yara is a demigoddess who has, in the absence of Diana on Earth Prime, where is Diana? We don't know. But in her absence, Yara has risen as Wonder Girl and then eventually the new Wonder Woman. Yara is a demigoddess and a warrior from the Amazon tribe. Not the Greek warriors, though. She is from a tribe of Amazons, as in like the Amazon region, as in Brazil, which is everything. It's so cool. And the way that they use Brazilian mythology and like Amazonian, like Amazon rainforest mythology, as well as Greek mythology in this episode is so cool. For example, she's got a Pegasus named Jerry that she rides, which is just fucking iconic. She's got a spirit of a forest that follows her around, and it's really awesome. She goes on awesome adventures, and it's exciting. What is this first adventure we follow her on? She travels to the underworld with her Pegasus named Jerry and her spirit friend, her forest spirit friend, to rescue one of her sisters from the Amazon from the underworld. We get a lot of really cool like reimaginings of what the underworld is, which does feel very Greg Perez 1980s Wonder Woman, because that was very like based in like Greg Perez, who the fuck am I? George Perez 1980s Wonder Woman. He really like solidified a bunch of the like all of the Greek mythology involved and like really brought the gods to the forefront, and it's like it was really cool. And this issue relies heavily on that. Something I really appreciate is the art style of this specific issue. Like the entrance to the underworld is drawn as like a spinning like TSA gate, which is incredible. We get Hades and Persephone, and the art for these two are so cool. Let me show you. This is how Hades is drawn, which is incredible and beautiful. This is how Persephone is drawn, which is just I want this art on my wall. Basically what I'm saying is they're combining Greek mythology and South American, like Brazilian mythology, and it's everything I've ever wanted, and I love it, and it's so cool and very beautiful. Casually Comic does a much better review of this episode than I will, because she goes more in depth and she talks about spoilers, and she's just better at her job than I am. So go watch her. I'll link it down below. Go subscribe to Casually Comics, by the way. In the next issue, we're still on Earth Prime. We're still in that future. This issue is called Good Morning Metropolis, and we follow Yara as acting Wonder Woman, and Jonathan Kent, who was Superboy too, but has now apparently graduated to being Superman because his dad, Clark Kent, is gone. And we get them doing hijinks and all kinds of shit around the universe, which is everything. I love Superman Wonder Woman relationships. I love their friendship. I love everything about it. These two are no different. Also, I am a simp for Jonathan Kent right now because Jonathan Kent has recently been revealed as canonically bisexual. That is right. The current Superman has a boyfriend, everyone, and I'm so happy. That's not in this episode, though. That's in the next episode for Jonathan. Anyway, though, Jonathan and Yara are stopping criminals, doing all kinds of stuff, and the Brazilian sun god decides that he's going to challenge Yara to a race around the universe, or around the Earth, because why not? At the same time, this weird sun villain named Polaris decides that he's gonna fuck some shit up for John Kent. Shit's happening. It's a good time. A lot of detailed things happen and get in the way, and neither of them are able to make their engagement, so they swap. Jonathan races the Brazilian sun god around the Earth and beats him, and it's awesome. And Yara battles the Polaris and beats him, and it's awesome. Then they have coffee on an iceberg, and John decides to try to convince Yara to join the Justice League, whoever that is made up of in this future timeline. We don't have that established yet in this issue. And Yara's like, nah, thanks, not right now. I'm better being on my own, even though we're really good friends, which is very reminiscent, again, of the George Perez 1980s run, because it took Diana forever to join the Justice League in the 80s for some reason. In the 40s, when the comics started, she was one of the founding members of the Justice League, but when they rebooted everything in the 80s, she was like, I'm good for a while. Don't know why. But it's happening again here, and I like the nod. Don't know if it was on purpose, but I like to think it was. Final two issues in this compilation are set in the very distant but also far future, it says. The art style is different, again, and it feels very Elseworldsy for me to some reason. I don't know why, even though I know this is supposed to be like current continuity, but it's like the future current continuity. I don't know. I think, or it might be like the birth of the new multiverse or whatever. Don't quote me on that because I don't know, because it's 2 issues in and I'm not caught up. I'm just catching up, guys. Anyway, though, we finally get to Diana. Where is Diana? Well, she's in this reality. Diana is revisiting the Batcave, and a lot of narration says even the bats are gone. She gets to the Batcave, and the ghost of Batman is there, / her memory of Bruce, whatever, and they have a few really touching moments talking about the end of the world and how he's dead. And then she dons the utility belt, Batman's utility belt, as part of her armor, and I took 5 seconds and sobbed in a corner because I am a forever Wonder Bat shipper. Hashtag. That is the romance for me. I love Steve and Diana, but Diana and Bruce all the way. Please and thank you. Mwah. It's super heartbreaking, and they're talking about the end of the world, and you're like, what's going on? She leaves the Batcave, and we basically, through narration, find out that the world is ending. And Diana and Swamp Thing and the Amazons are the only heroes left on Earth, because Diana and the Amazons are immortal and the guardians of Earth. And Diana is a goddess, a demigoddess. She's also the goddess of war and the goddess of truth in different continuities. And Swamp Thing is literally a being of the Earth, so he will die when the Earth dies. Diana's having existential crises, as one does when you're the last being on Earth, the last the last to fend off Earth from whatever darkness is eating all of the different realities. We jump to the planet Apocalypse, and we see Big Barda die, basically, on Apocalypse, as Apocalypse is eaten and destroyed by whatever dark thing is destroying it. I don't know if it's antimatter or what. It's not really established. But it does feel very reminiscent of the antimatter in the original reboot, Crisis on Infinite Earths, where the world was destroyed by antimatter. I don't think that's what it is, though. I don't know. Anyway, Owlman is there too for a second, but then he dies immediately, so it doesn't really matter. It's just Big Bart is really who we care about. And then Darkseid, ruler of Apocalypse, escapes and is like, hey, maybe Earth isn't dead yet. I'm gonna go try to rule that one again, because it works so well the other times. Anyway, though, Diana and Swamp Thing and the Amazons are like, we're gonna stop Darkseid from trying to do that. He shows up, and lo and behold, Clark is there too, and he's old, and he's dying. But Diana and a very old Clark fight Darkseid. This ends in Clark literally throwing Darkseid into the sun, allowing the darkness to destroy basically everything else. The Earth dies, Swamp Thing dies, and Diana is left alone. She flies around for a while. She runs into the Monitor, who is this this other immortal being who's also usually the bringer of he's like the warning person of yo, the Earth is gonna die every time the Earth is gonna die. And they have this super touching conversation about what the goddess of truth and the goddess of war and the symbol for justice and belief and perseverance should do when there isn't a civilization left to believe in her, which is a lot to take in, and I stopped and cried again there. And then the Monitor says that he is sick and tired of surviving, so Diana wraps him in the embraces of her lasso of truth and releases him from his obligation, and he dies. And Diana's left alone. And she fights off the darkness for a while, and it looks like she's about to surrender, but then her gauntlets light up, and I'm not sure exactly what's happening here. I don't know if she's transcending into a new state of being as an ethereal being, like a goddess or what, or if she is but she hits the gauntlets together and it looks like stuff shatters, so I don't know if maybe she's restarting the multiverse, if maybe she's doing what Flash did or what, but it's really effective and confusing, so I can't really help you there. I guess we have to see what happens in the next episodes in 2022. But what I'm trying to tell you is it's really sad. It's a really cool apocalyptic story of what it is like to be the last hero and being on Earth, and it would make sense in any apocalyptic setting that Diana would be the last person to survive because she's immortal. So I don't know, but it's sad and it's good. What's going forward? What do I want? I want more Diana because I miss her and love her, but I also really want Nubia. I want Nubia to be solidified as Wonder Woman. I want that and I need that. What else do I want? More Yara. I love Yara so much. I want more of her. Her spunk and her just overall personality are everything, and the art style that shows up when she's around is beautiful, and I want it, and I would pay so much money to have all of the prints of Yara blown up everywhere in my room because they're so cool. Do I know what the fuck is going on in this new continuity? Nope. I usually wait until there's at least a couple of arcs out to read all of them, to just binge them. That way I know what's going on, and then I can talk about them with a head on my shoulders. But I'm not waiting this time because, frankly, I saw the art style for these episodes and was like, I have to have it. So I spent Christmas money on it. I guess that's part 1 of Future State Wonder Woman. When more stuff comes out, I'll do a follow-up to this video. We'll see, but that's what I read this week. Thanks for going on that little adventure with me. If I misspoke on any of this and any of you are more informed than I am on this, please tell me. Also, go follow Casually Comics because she'll give you, as always, a much more informed recap of what's going on in these things than I will, because that's your job. Next week, we'll probably return to the usual format of books. And queer literature. I'll tell you what that is when I get to it, but thanks for sticking around and helping out. This has been the Bye Book Boy, and I am saying bye.